What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. As you may have seen in one of my recent videos, we just completed my in-laws laundry room remodel. And after seeing how well that turned out, we decided it was time we take on ours as well. We always intended to upgrade the laundry room when we bought this house, but it's moved up the priority list after seeing how my in-laws laundry room turned out. So that's what we're going to take on next around the house. This project will be broken into multiple videos. Uh, Starting off with this video, though, we're going to finish cleaning out the laundry room. I've already kind of started taking some of the stuff off the walls, and started patching some of the walls. So we're going to finish cleaning out the laundry room, and then we're going to fill and patch any remaining holes that we haven't gotten to. Then we'll move down to the floor in this video. So we're going to start by taking the shoe molding off of our baseboards. And then we are going to remove all the old linoleum. So then we can come behind that and we'll lay down an uncoupling membrane first, which should help reduce the chances of any of the tile cracking over the life of the tile. So we'll start with laying an uncoupling membrane, and then we'll come behind after that and we're going to lay some tile on top of it. And we're looking to do a herringbone pattern. And then, of course, after tile, we'll do grout. And I think that's going to complete this week's video. And then from there, we'll move on to part 2 and maybe part 3. So we're not quite sure how many parts this video or this project will end up being. But yeah, for this video, though, we're going to be focused on the floor. So let's get started. So when patching holes that anchors leave, I like to take the butt of my spackle knife, putty knife, and I like to concave it in so that I don't have any parts sticking out beyond the drywall. That way I can come back in with my mud. In my case, since this is just a small little hole, I'm just using high strength spackle, which will work just fine. And then I like to fill it just beyond flat so that I can sand it perfectly smooth and feather it out a little bit. And then I can get it all done in one coat. All right, we've got most everything out of the laundry room now, with the exception of some things on the shelves. We have cabinets going there, so might as well use those shelves to hold that stuff for as long as we can without cluttering up the rest of the house. So anyways, I'm gonna work on taking the shoe molding off and then pulling up the linoleum. What I plan to do is to score the seam between the shoe molding and the baseboard with my box cutter, and then I'll come behind with I think this is like a 7-in-1 tool, and my crowbar and my hammer. So I think with all this combined, I should be able to get these out without damaging the shoe molding too much or the baseboard itself. So here we go. All right, we've got the shoe molding out from around the laundry room, and the last thing I need to try to get up is this threshold that is covering between our mudroom entrance with the garage right there and our linoleum in our laundry room. So I want to get this up, hopefully without damaging it, so I can reuse it after I've laid tile in here. All right, let's see if we can get it up carefully. So that came out begrudgingly. Now, let's see if we can't pull this linoleum up relatively easily. Little did I know removing this floor would turn out to be anything but easy. Alright, we're back on the next day. I expected this flooring to come up a lot easier than it is. I did not anticipate needing a scraper of some kind to pull up all the old glue and flooring, which is exactly what I need. So that's why I stopped when I did yesterday. I can't do this whole floor with this little tool here. So I went to our home improvement store and I grabbed a actual tool for the job with a floor scraper. So I'm hoping this does a lot better at removing this floor. So we'll see how it goes. I've been going on this floor for about an hour now, at least. And there's no way to spin this. This is some hard work. But I have managed to come up with a bit of a system that's working well for me, so I figured I'd share some of the details with y'all. I started off, first of all, my floor scraper here looked sharp, but actually they had a dull end. This is a razor blade that can be flipped. And so I started off by figuring that out rather quickly, that I was not using my sharp end, but rather the dull side. So I flipped that around to the sharp side, fortunately, which improved things some, but it still wasn't coming off easy at all. And so I got that flipped back around to the sharp side and tightened her back down. So that was one problem fixed. But I'll show you, even with it on the sharp side, running this into the linoleum it does not want to budge. So what I've discovered is that by separating the linoleum, basically cutting it in half, essentially take the top half of the linoleum off to where it's just the bottom layer that's really stuck by the glue. And I'm using my multi-tool here to just run it down the seam of the linoleum, or not really the seam, but once you get going, you know, you have all these little rough edges here. So this is a perfect example. So you grab it right here and you just take a multi-tool or something with a sharp edge and just run it down the side of it. Slowly but surely working your way into it so that you can peel back as you do it. So that way, once we get enough of this peeled back, see, it's kind of like you're skinning, if there's any hunters out there, like you're skinning a deer. You just take it piece by piece and you go little cut, pull it back, little cut, pull it back. So once you expose, essentially, when you expose just the bottom layer of the linoleum, that was the freaking word I was looking for, it's much easier to run your floor scraper up under it. So with this exposed, you see, now I can actually get somewhere when I run the floor scraper up under it. And that really has helped get this floor up. I mean, like I said, it's still not, there's no shortcuts to this, at least not that I've found, besides what I'm showing you here. It's going to take some elbow grease and some perseverance to get this floor up. But, you know, it'll be worth it. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But yeah, I'm about, I would say 50 to 60% of the way through this laundry room, and I'm getting faster with this technique I just shared you. So I'm gonna put you back in time lapse and just wrap this up so that hopefully we can lay down the uncoupling membrane next, and let that dry overnight so that maybe tomorrow we can start tile. We'll see. All right, see you when we're done. Whew. So we got the linoleum up, and that was not easy. It was much harder than anticipated. I thought that was going to be the easy step. Turns out I was way off on that. So anyways, it's up. My back hurts. Doesn't matter. Time to move on to the next part of the project. So, all right, we got the old floor up. Now we need to lay the uncoupling membrane down. I want to get this done today so that it can be drying overnight, and then hopefully I can start my tile tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my pieces of the uncoupling membrane down to length and kind of dry fit it in here, and then we'll go and lay our thin set underneath that, then press that down on top. So first things first is we'll cut our membrane to sizes around all our corners, and then we'll get it stuck down. All right. So we got the uncoupling membrane dry fit and cut to size. That was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. So this is going to be a project of surprises, I think. So we've got it cut and dry fit like I just said, and now all we need to do is mix up some thin set. We're going to lay it down with a 1/4 inch trowel as is recommended for this membrane. So we're going to put 1/4 inch of thin set underneath, or use the 1/4 inch trowel to lay out the thin set underneath. Put this back down and press it down with a float. Then once we get all the sheets pressed down, I'm going to come back in mud, and I have some fiberglass tape that's meant for a uncoupling membrane joint. So I'll run some tape and mud across the 3 joints here, and then this is ready to set up overnight. All right, let's get to it. We have our membranes down and pressed. And so now what we need to do is mortar and tape our joints. We have one here and one here. And then I'll go around with a sponge and kind of wipe up the giant mess I've made as best I can. So, oh, awesome. Okay, let's get going so I can get cleaned up. It is the next day, y'all, and we're about to get the exciting part going. So it's time for tile. And what I have set up so far is I have my laser level going down the center point of my doorway. And this is the longest length of the room, so we want the herringbone pattern running this way as opposed to side to side here. So I think what it will look good is if I have it to where one point is set up going down the center of the line, like so, and I work my way down that way. So we're essentially doing a dry fit here to see if we like our layout. All right, I think this layout's gonna work great. I'm going to take this door out, take this door off to get out of our way. Probably should have done that yesterday. And then I'm gonna go mix up some thin set and kind of figure out the best way to lay this. I think what I wanna do is lay this row first and then work my way around from here. Work my way around that. I want to lay this row all the way to the wall. And then I want to work from here over. And then I'm going to work back from here down so that I can do the whole floor without getting myself trapped into a corner. So that'll be the plan here. All right, first step, go mix some mortar and take this door off. I'll see you back in a minute. All right, first thing we want to do is we want to get our mortar pressed into the holes of the uncoupling membrane so we have a nice good fill on that. Then what you want to do is we want to come with the 1/4 inch side to get our 1/4 inch down for the tiles to adhere to. So we're going to take it slow, start slow, we'll do a small section at a time, and just work our way around the room. All right, we're back on day 2. So the first round from yesterday has set up overnight. Everything feels rock solid so far, so that's been good. What I'm doing now is I'm going around and making all the border cuts and just laying them in place. And that way when I mix my mortar, I'm ready to just back butter them and push them down. I found yesterday that the cut pieces were taking me a lot of time and it was burning a lot of the clock on the thin set. So what I've done is I already got it started, gone around and made some of these cuts already. I've done this border all the way down to here, and I've got the first cut in on this side. So I'm just gonna carry on with the process until I get back to where I finished yesterday, and then I'll go mix up my mortar and we'll finish the laying the tile today. That's the plan. All right, we have our mortar mixed up and Now we're gonna go back around and start back buttering these edge tiles that we've already cut. Work our way around the room this way, and then we'll spread along the floor in the section we haven't done yet and just work our way out of the room. All right, we are back the next day. All the tiles laid down, and now, as you can see, some thin set got on the top of it. So now it's time to clean up some of our, we've had some joints where there was some excessive squeeze out. So we'll go back with that multi-tool and just kind of scrape this thin set that we had scrape the thin set out of the joints where we had excessive squeeze out. So that way we can come back and grout later. So I've got a stiff brush that I'm hoping I can scrub the tops of these tiles with some water, get that off. And then I've got my multi-tool that I'll run through some of these joints where there was excessive squeeze out. So, and then we'll let that dry fully for a couple hours, and we'll come back with some grout later today. We are on to one of the final steps for this floor. So I've got our grout mixed up and my grout float, and so that's what we're gonna do now, is put the grout out, push it in with our float. We've got a sponge and some water for any excess to remove, and so let's see how it goes. So I'm starting off nice and slow with the corner section of the laundry room, and I figured I'd be able to clean as I went. But one thing I was not aware of is this is rapid setting grout, and I'm about to find this out the hard way. Realization has set in, and it's time to get a move on. My wife's about to get home to me making all kinds of racket. Hey. My mortar is setting. My grout is setting. This is all of it. It started setting like way quick. So I am getting a better workout now than my run. Fortunately for us, we were able to get the tile grouted before it fully set. it's cleanup day. So there's a little bit of a haze left from the grout on the tile here. So we're gonna go around with scrub brush and a rag and see if we can't give this one final clean. And then that way we can get our washer and dryer hooked back up and kind of get caught back up on laundry. And then we'll move on to the next phase of the project. So let's see how this cleanup goes. That completes part 1 of this project, and thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for part 2.